Finding balance in the modern world isn't easy, but I believe nature has everything we need. I'm Frankie Paz, a plant-based chef living on a narrowboat in one of the busiest cities. Nature is my muse and I create delicious recipes, forage wild herbs from city parks and follow nature cycles and prove that city living can be done differently. Through good food and raw, honest storytelling, I celebrate the magic and messiness of life. So this is my go-to when I've come back from chefing and I just can't really be asked to cook something, but I want something that's nutritious and warm and comforting. So we've got leeks and kind of Cavolo Nero, which are kind of winter seasons kind of root veg, which are amazing and super nourishing. And we're going to have like gnocchi and cream, and I think the dish probably takes like 20 minutes to make, and it's absolutely banging. So here we go. So you need a couple of leeks, basically. I'm not the best vegetable cutter. I think we have this idea that perfection, you have to just like do everything a certain way. I'm just like cut it up as you feel, move with it. So we're just slicing the leeks. I think we have this idea that like good healthy food has to be quite difficult, and I don't believe it does at all. You know, there was like ready meals came out and they were quick, but actually sometimes I think like for an extra 10 minutes more, I mean, if you include going to the shops and stuff, like you can create something super nutritious, healthy, that feeds you and the family in such a short period of time. So we just whack them leeks in there, all of the bits. Nice drizzle of olive oil. So we're going to use cumin, cayenne pepper and garlic. They're the only herbs that we're going to use in this. Spices, actually. So you just want to cook these till they kind of soften quite a bit, to be honest. They're like sweat. I love that term, sweat. I try and eat seasonally as much as I can, but I'm going to be honest, you can't, well, you could eat seasonally all the time, but I'm usually down the market just finding what's cheapest, and sometimes that's not what's seasonally. But if I can, I will, because I think there's more nutrients. It doesn't have to come from far away when we eat seasonally, but it's also meeting us. You've got to meet yourself where you're at. I always find sometimes people that are on this like health vibe can be really like, I'm only eating this and I'm only doing this, and it's great, but we just need to give ourselves a bit of a break sometimes. So, you know, today I've got leeks and kale, but if I find a cheap box of mangoes down the market, I'll be having them too. A little bit of cumin powder now. I love spices and herbs, like the more the better for me, to be honest. So I reckon for like, I don't know, 4 minutes or something like that, you just want to like have them so they're like really loose. My whole theme with making simple, nutritious, kind of healthy food is because, well, I think we need it in the modern world, and, you know, we want to make it accessible. And also it's just like our bodies now are under so much stress with like the day-to-day of modern day life that, I mean, if we can give ourselves healthy food, then we're doing our best. Having nourishing food just feels like a big embrace on our nervous system, on our guts, on all of it. There we go, that's looking great. Well, I am really lazy, and this is what I do all the time. Microplane, this is going to save your life. I never really cut garlic anymore because I just can't be asked. So I just, even with the skin on, I just do this. And what that does is gets it really fine. Look at that, that's just like pure grated small garlic. Bosh, straight in there. Yeah, this just saves me so much time. Like when you're chefing, it's all about finding loopholes to make your life easier. This is how I made mine easier, as opposed to like skinning them and doing it. Because the skin's there, look, all the things there. And then you get this real strong kind of garlic coming through because it's been chopped so finely. If you could smell it, you'd be like, that's banging, and it is. So now we're gonna go with like some Cavolo Nero, just kind of breaking this up. The key with this is I always find, my pet hate is when people give you massive like strips of like kale and Cavolo Nero. It's like bite size is where it's at. That's the difference of making a good dish. Bite size. You got to get your greens in, man, every day somehow, like however that is, like Greens, alkalizing, help with the nervous system. It's just where it's at. So now we just do this for just a couple of minutes. You don't want much because we're going to put cream and the gnocchi in with it, but we just want to get it as soft as possible. I don't like really crunchy leeks, personally. I don't mind a bit of crunch on the greens, but leeks, I'm like, you just want the sweetness. The sweetness is where it's at. Like almost like caramelized a little bit. So we want to put a nice big thing of salt. Whenever I use salt, I always just think it's kind of like a bit of a sacred thing, which sounds nuts to some. But like back in the day, before we got everything imported, people would use salt. It'd almost be like some kind of god, because you'd preserve meats, you'd preserve so many things with salt. And, you know, you'd get it from, it'd come from like Cornwall or Devon and these places. And it's just like, because of that, our ancestors could like eat for longer, you know, and cure these meats and things like that. So yeah, I think that's where that saying, you know, salt of the earth, it's just like, because it's like such an important, great thing. So basically, every time you use salt, now hopefully you'll just remember every ingredient has a magic, but we forget it because we're quite busy in this modern world. See, that's looking great. Smells good. So we're gonna boil the gnocchi now, gnocchi, or however you say it. Personally, gnocchi is my go-to. I'm not really, I mean potatoes, let's just face it, who doesn't love a potato? But no, honestly though, gnocchi is great because it's just really easy. You know, it does come in a packet. Welcome to my cupboard of madness. Don't give it. This is like, when you're a chef, you come back with so many ingredients. Look how mad this is. This is a reflection of inside of my part of my mind. I try and keep my shit together most of the time, but this is like the chaos. This is the only cupboard I have. So it's a bit of a rummage. Sometimes I have to use a head torch actually at night. I'm like sitting there with a head torch, like a little mouse going through it. There's one. How hungry are you? Hungry? Yeah. Might actually have to get the head torch out. 2. Wah! We'll just cover that up like I'm covering part of the things I'm trying not to look at. I always think everything is a reflection of oneself. So like my boat is always tidy and clean. When you live on a small space, it has to be kind of like that because a little bit of mess just makes it look chaotic. But if you look a little bit closer in things, it's a bit of madness, and that's the reality of my life, like everyone's. But I'm trying to make it all look very neat and clean, like I've got my shit together. But really, I haven't. I'm just trying. Okay, let's put some salt in this. Bit of sacred salt. So I'm using gluten-free gnocchi just because I don't really do gluten. Just because if I don't have to, I just won't. I think, well, that's a whole other topic. But I think if we can eat less gluten, it's better, you know? So, and lots of it's covered in potatoes. Anyway, we'll wait for that to boil. So now with the leeks and the greens, I'm just gonna add like a plant cream in there. Just literally, like this. And then you're just having that on low. We're gonna add a little bit of cayenne pepper for a bit of spice, bit of passion is what they say. That chili brings passion and invokes, well, apparently it's meant to make you smile from the inside out. We'll see. Let's let some air in. I'm opening one. Oh, can you feel that? It is winter, but when everyone's like, oh, is it cold living on a boat? No, it's not cold, it's fucking boiling. It's like I'm in this tiny little space with this stove on. Sometimes I'm like cooking in my underwear, which obviously I would not show you on YouTube because that'd be for OnlyFans, which I'm not doing, but if I was, that'd be for that thing. Jeez. Anyway, back to the lemon. So I'd say probably a juice of a lemon. I don't use what they called a little squeezer thing. I'll just use your hands and catch the seeds. Saves time, saves washing up. Just hope that you don't have any cuts because obviously that will just kill you. There we go. What else do we need? Parsley. I mean, how epic is that? Looks so beautiful, doesn't it? I always just think like, It's just like, this is going to change and transform our dish to just magic, really. I like a lot of herbs, so we're just going to go in. Doesn't matter if you get a little bit of like stalking. People, don't be too precious about cooking. People are so precious about it. It's just like, all of it's good. I mean, obviously you don't want the really hard stalks, but just like this, it's great. Just whack that in. Yeah, there we go. As soon as you put a kind of herb in, it just like transforms it. It's got flavour, it's got depth, freshness. Do you know what? I think I'm going to whack some capers in that as well, actually. Just freestyling. Welcome to my mind. There are the capers. So capers, if I can find some, I would have definitely. Then we're going to go back to the madness. Bloody hell. I am actually going to get the head torch on. It just makes my life, my God. This is literally welcome to. Where the bloody hell are the capers? Oh, here we go. There we go. Just leave that in there. But what you do with the capers when you're cooking them, you get like little bites of saltiness. I love saltiness. So you've got the salt, but then you just like get a bit of potato with a bit of salt, a bit of caper, a bit of parsley. It's just like, it's like a flavour explosion, to be honest. Okay, let's whack this in. Whoa. So it'll take just a few minutes. You'll know when it's done because it will just rise. So it's just a few minutes. Little potato dumplings. The Italians are gonna hate me. Yeah. I'm actually gonna put a little bit of black pepper in this as well. If you leave kind of plant milk to cook for a while, it kind of thickens up a little bit. We don't want it too thick, just because we want a bit of sauce on that gnocchi, to be honest. I'm gonna give this a little go on its own. Ready? Dun, dun, dun. Mmm. It's like sweet, but salty, but zesty. I think you can have more chilli. Defo. More spice. More passion. Every time I put chilli in, when I lived in the jungle, this little witch that I lived with for a while was always like, chilli is passion. Every time you have chilli in, remember you're like adding passion to your life. That it's a medicine, actually. That we forget that it's a medicine. That actually every plant is a medicine. So anytime you eat plants, whether you eat meat or not, it's not about being just plant-based or just this. I think we get so caught up in labels now. It's just about eating more plants, however that is for you, you know? Okay. Getting my fancy bowls out. No, but I'm big into like pottery and nice bowls. I spent a long time like living in squats or tents or shared things, and I always was like, when I get my own home, I'm gonna get nice bowls and nice things. Yeah, and I think when you see a nice bowl, you automatically are like, oh, nice dish, and it just kind of creates this thing of like beauty. And I'm just like, everything I do, I just want it to be beautiful, and even if it's messy or chaotic, I'm like, just make it beautiful. And like, even the messy and chaoticness is like beautiful as well, you know? And it's just like, I think that's how we like romanticize life. Okay, this is ready. For those that don't know about gnocchi, look, these little guys rising to the surface, this means that we are done. The old knife trick. Okay. Right, so I'm gonna pour this in now. Oh, a little bit of potato water's gone in as well. It's fine. Look at that. Mate, smells fucking banging. Let's turn that off now. Great. So, some black pepper for the final touch. Look at that. I'm gonna get involved. Yum. Mmm, it's so good. Got your greens in, all seasonal. I mean, that took like 20 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. Super quick, super nutritious. This is like, come back from chefing, been cooking for 15 people, can't be asked to cook for anyone but myself. This is what I'm getting. Mmm, so good.